Today I want to talk to you about troubleshooting the heating and air conditioning system. This car is a Jaguar XJ6 Series 3. It has the Delanair MKII heating and air conditioning system. And this video is not intended to be a complete diagnostic video. It's just intended to show you where a couple things are and give you a little bit of a overview, and so it'll hopefully set you on the right path. In the description below, I'm going to include some links that will lead to discussions of troubleshooting with much more information, and it's in the Jaguar Forums, and there'll be people there to help you as well. So the first thing I want to point out is this knob right here is called the temperature selection knob. You can go from 65 to 85. When it's on 85, it forces the system to be 100% heat and no cooling. And when it's on all the way the other way, it's 100% cooling. When it's in the middle, it's mixing heating and cooling together. And so the system is designed for the heating and cooling to work together simultaneously all the time. This over here is the mode selection knob. You've got defroster, high, automatic, low, and off. So it's designed so that when it's in the automatic setting, and let's set the temperature at 70 degrees, that it works totally automatically. In my car right now, the problem is it's working sporadically. It be working fine, and then all of a sudden everything just shuts off completely, and then a while later it'll kick in again and work perfectly. So I'm just going to be looking at a few things to make sure that I'm getting electricity. So we'll see how this goes. The first thing I'm going to do is check the fuses. I'm going to open up this panel right here, small screwdriver, wide blade. Just turn it a quarter of a turn and that'll drop down. So this is the cover, and you can see that fuse number 16, second from the right, the 50 amp fuse, and it's the air conditioner fuse. So I'm going to start the engine and check and see if I've got power at that fuse. So that's good. We've got power on both sides of the fuse number 16, so the main power fuse for the air conditioner is good. Next, we're going to take off this panel. There are two screws right here for this little vent. I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Okay, I've got the screws out, and note that the vanes in the little vent, they face down towards the front of the car, so you warm your feet up in the winter. Okay, this panel here is called the cheek panel. With those screws out, I just grab hold of it. It's tucked in up here, so I'm just untuck it and wiggle it and pull it back, and well, it took a little wiggling, but it comes right out. There are just little clips that hold it here, and you just wiggle it out. Now, up in here, right here is the servo. And the servo is a device that it has little cams and switches, and that's what changes the settings on the air conditioner. It's a little motor and it rotates, and that opens and closes pneumatic valves and little electrical switches. When it's running correctly, you can see this lever here move. You'll see it move and you'll hear it whirring when it's working correctly. On the driver's side, there's all kinds of things up here. Up in here is the amplifier. The amplifier is an electronic device that takes all the inputs from the sensors and the controls and decides what needs to be done. It's the brains of the system, and it connects with this round multi-pin connector. You can buy new ones. I'll put a link in the description, and you can just replace the amplifier right there. Continuing on with with fuses, here is the parking brake. We're on the driver's side. You see a couple inline fuses here. We're going to check those for continuity using a multimeter. You know what they say about an old Jaguar: if you have electrical problems, the first three things you should do are check the fuses, check the fuses, check the fuses. I want to show you how to check a fuse with a multimeter. So I'm going to zoom in here and see if I can do this with one hand. I turn this to the ohms position, and it says OL. OL means an open circuit, open line. Now if I take these two probes and I touch them together, you can see there's resistance. So if it's jumping around or zero, then it's there's a circuit. Might not be a good circuit, but there's a circuit. If they're open, it'll say open line. Okay, I've got a glass fuse similar to what's used in a Jaguar, and I got little alligator clips on it, and the alligator clips go to the probes on the multimeter, and so you can see it's just about zero. That means that there's zero resistance, and that's what you want to see. Now watch what happens when I disconnect this. So if the fuse was blown, it would say open line or infinite resistance. I want to show you this. The automotive fuses, British and American, are different. The US system rates the fuse based on the continuous load it can handle for a specified period of time without blowing, while the British system expresses the load at which the fuse will immediately blow. That's a big difference. So an American fuse will take a whole lot more power, which means you have a higher risk of burning up your circuit. So you want to be sure and do the conversion. I'll put a link in the description that has a chart to help you determine which fuse you need. So here's a chart. The Lucas 50 amp fuse on the top line, which is what one of the air conditioner fuses are, a US equivalent is a 30 amp fuse. Next thing that we're going to look at is right down here. You see all those terminals? This whole thing here is the fan relay pack. It's one device that is actually 4 relays. There are 11 spade connectors. There you see some. You want to make sure that those are not burnt or corroded. you want to take them off one at a time, check to make sure they're in good condition, push them back on, make sure they're seated correctly, and then I'm going to show you on the wiring diagram some more about the fuse relay pack. The next thing we're going to look at is inside the fuse panel on the driver's side, fuse number 6. Right there it says wipers 35 amp. Keep in mind that is a British 35 amp fuse. And the easy way to check this, if your wipers work, the fuse is okay. But that circuit also provides power to the control unit for the heating and air conditioning. You recall on the other side there was a 50 amp fuse. That was for the blowers. So the fuse for the wipers on the driver's side, this is an American car, left-hand drive, that fuse provides power to the control system we've been looking at. Next, we're going to look at this pigtail, these terminals that are, they're just tucked down behind the carpet in there, and those go to a thermostatic switch on the heater coil. So if it's freezing and you get in the car in the winter and the antifreeze is cold, that switch prevents the heating and air conditioning system from turning on and blowing ice cold air on you. As soon as the heater coil warms up, then that switch flips the other way, and then everything works. So if that switch has failed in a certain position, the blowers won't work. So the easy way to check it is just put a jumper between those two terminals, and if that fixes your problem, then you know that that switch is the problem. It's buried deep inside there. Huge job to replace that thermostatic switch so you can permanently splice these two terminals, test ports, together and override that switch if that's where the problem lies. The final test that we're going to do is on the round connector that goes to the amplifier. One side, this side up here, goes up to the amplifier and it's disconnected. This side goes to the control system, the servo, etc. And on there is a brown wire right there. So using a test probe or a multimeter with the engine running and the mode control switch set to anything but off, that brown wire right there, use a test probe on the terminal, that brown wire should have power. So now we're going to go in and we're going to look at the wiring diagrams and show you exactly what's happening with that brown wire. Next, we're going to look at the wiring diagrams. This is the S57 wiring diagram. You Google S57 Jaguar wiring diagram. It's a free download. You can find it. This is climate control for XJ6. And so this is the official Jaguar wiring diagram for the heating and air conditioning system. This is the SK JagTech wiring diagram for the heating and air conditioning. And this was produced by, see if I can get this, Steve Fuller, SK JagTech. You can Google that. They're produced in color. This is a black and white copy, but all these wires are in the correct color. So on this wiring diagram, you can see right there's a symbol for a fuse. This is the number 16 fuse on the right panel. The wire comes in and it goes to the relay pack that we saw, the relay pack in the car. The relay pack is actually 4 individual relays, and the purpose of these additional relays is for the fan speeds. This is a resistor, variable step resistor, and you see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 ports on this resistor, and that gives you the 4 fan speeds on the car. So they're controlled by the relay pack, and the power for that comes from the number 16 fuse on the right, the passenger side on a left-hand drive car. So this is the JagTech diagram for the relay pack, for the main relay for the heating and air conditioning. And right here you see those 11 terminals that we saw in the car. So some tests you can do is B, up here's the color key, B's for black, so that is a ground. That terminal that you can see on the relay, the wire to that should be a good ground. Right in the center is a NW, let's see, N is brown with a white tracer. Right in the center is, that should have 12 volt power when the key is turned on. So if you don't have power there, it's probably that number 16 fuse that is blown. Down here is NW, that is that's also brown and white. There's a terminal there, and there should be 12 volt on that wire as well. Pull the wire off, use your multimeter, should have power there. Now, one of the tests you can do, you can eliminate all of these relays by jumping 12 volt to this wire, GS, that is green wire with a slate or gray tracer. You can pull that off and supply 12 volt to it, and a good known source of 12 volt power, and the fan should kick in on high. If you jump that with 12 volt and the fans don't go, there's something wrong with the fans themselves. But that's a quick way to test to see if the fans are okay. So this is an excellent resource, and it's going to help you to somewhat diagnose that relay pack. And I don't have all the tests to test for all of them, but there's a couple of them that'll at least set you on the right path. Okay, back on the JagTech wiring diagram. There's a fuse down here. That's the number 6 fuse, the wiper fuse that we saw. Power comes in there and runs up, and this right here, these 4 switches, that is the mode control switch. Just to the right of the radio, excuse me. So power comes in on this green wire. If this is working correct, power comes out on this brown wire and goes to the amplifier. That's what we were looking at in the car. So my car, I have 12 volt here, but I don't have any power up here. So that's telling me that the mode control switch is probably the culprit. So I'm not going to include that in this video. I'm just going to conclude about now on some of the diagnostics that you can do to troubleshoot your heating and air conditioning system. I want to give a big shout out to Jag Air. You can just Google Jag-Aire and you'll come to their web page, and they are the heating and air conditioning specialists. Right there you see an amplifier, manual control switch, which I've used one of those. They're great. Some other switches. They repair servos, rebuild servos. Some additional things. These are the micro switches that go in the mode control switch, so I'm probably going to wind up needing one of those. And Rainco thermostat, that's haven't covered that in this video, but that's in the heating and air conditioning system. Right here are 6 modifications to the Jaguar AC system. I have some of those modifications on my car. I'll show you in the next little video segment. This is excellent. I really recommend that. They have temperature selector switches, relay packs, and you can see their prices are very reasonable. And some other, and they even have a heater core matrix. So I highly recommend Jag Air. They're great to work with, and they have the parts you need to fix everything up. Well, I'm going to wrap up this video. As I mentioned at the outset, this is a partial diagnostic video. My hope is just to show you where some of these things are, some basic tests to hopefully help you diagnose your air conditioning system. It's not meant to be comprehensive. I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to share what I've learned so far. I'm going to make another video when I actually repair my problem. The problem is this mode control switch, power is not getting through that. So I'm going to have to take out this part of the dash. This is an early Series 3. It has the little package shelf or little tray. You can put your cell phone or your sunglasses there. This car does not have the trip computer that the later Series 3s do have. So that's going to be the next video, is getting this apart and hopefully being able to repair that switch and fix the problem. Before I go, I'm going to show you those modifications that I did to this system. When I was showing you the Jag Air website, they have a free download on the modifications you can do install for your heating and air conditioning system. These 2 switches here, you can see up here, one is for the air conditioner compressor on and off switch, and fresh air and recirculate. So if it's really hot and muggy in the summertime, put the air conditioner compressor on and the recirculate on, and this really makes a big difference. If it's a beautiful spring morning and I just want fresh air, turn the air conditioner compressor off, set this to the fresh air mode, and then the system just supplies fresh outside air to the cabin. You might be wondering about this up here. This is a warning light. It's a 12-volt LED. It's a marker light for a truck. I got it at AutoZone. And that is the parking brake light. There's a warning light on the dashboard, but it's very, very dim. And when I first got the car, a couple times I drove off with the parking brake on. So this, now when I set the parking brake, this is very bright. It's in my line of vision, and I've never left the parking brake on since I installed that. So that concludes this video. I hope it was helpful and you got some value from it. Please enter any comments below. Be sure to check out the links to the Jaguar forum. There are people with a lot of experience waiting there, and they can answer your questions. Be sure and check that out. One of my previous videos, I showed how to replace the dashboard in a Jaguar XJ6, and I never actually showed the finished result. So here it is. Here's my finished result of when I replaced the wood in the dashboard. I think it was about 9 years ago. I love this wood. It has kind of a honey color to it, and so I really like it. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you later.